The meeting will come to order. Welcome to the virtual December 21st special meeting of the West Hartford Mayor's Youth Council. My name is Grace Furia and I am the chair to the Youth Council. This meeting is being conducted in a virtual format in accordance with Section 149 of Public Act Number 21-2, which authorizes municipalities to conduct public meetings virtually. Members of the Youth Council and some town staff are participating by Webex. Members of the public can view the meeting live on the WHCI YouTube channel. The meeting is also being recorded for on-demand viewing, which will be available on the TON website and YouTube. Because of the virtual format, there are some special rules and procedures that I need to cover before I begin. First, I ask all participants to please mute your devices when you are not speaking. If you wish to be recognized, please raise your hand and I will call on you in the order that I see hands go up. If you are participating via audio only or I do not call on you, then please unmute yourself and let me know so that I can recognize you. Second, all speakers must make an effort to state their name at the outset of each occasion that such person speaks. Third, to the extent that we take any votes today, due to the difficulty in tallying voice votes on a video conference, I will require that all votes be taken off by a roll. Fourth, during the course of the meeting, if there is a participant who has a problem with their connection, you should immediately contact me via the contact information provided to you prior to the meeting. I will subsequently recess the meeting while the problem is resolved. If it cannot be resolved quickly, we will ask you to call into the meeting using a phone and participate via audio only. I want to thank everyone in advance for their patience as we work in this virtual setting. Next item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. If we can all recite the Pledge of Allegiance at this time. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will now call the roll. Would the following members of the board please say present when your name is read? Reese Berrigan. Daphne Brewer. Jack Gold. Siona Goldfisher. Sarah Grinquist.
Here.
Heiko Mordecai.
Here.
Maya Polinki is not here. Chris Rimmel.
Here.
Zara is not here, and Priya Sinha.
Here.
Okay. So the next agenda item is approval of the minutes. The minutes of the November 23rd meeting was distributed to you. Are there any corrections? Yes. Chair recognizes Mrs. Clark.
In section 5 under announcements, part C, we should change West Hartford Climate Projects to West Hartford Climate Project.
Okay. Are there any more corrections? If there are no more corrections to the meetings, the minutes stand approved. The next agenda item is subcommittee reports. Subcommittees were asked to meet once between the November and December Mayor's Youth Council meetings. At this time, I will ask a representative of the Mental Health Action and Awareness Committee to give an update on their committee work. So I think Siona is going to do it, but because she cannot be here, I can just speak quickly about it. So we've had some difficulty with scheduling because this has been a really busy time of year for a lot of us. We will certainly be able to have probably a better meeting, an official meeting. We shared some thoughts in our group text. We kind of were just reiterating what we talked about last time about how we really want to get some sort of parental night to talk about mental health in a town-wide setting. And I think Priya had brought up about maybe getting in touch with the Bridge family and possibly doing some sort of thing with them so that we can have professionals and maybe do a specific mental health night where we can have parents of West Hartford come and hear professionals speak about mental health. Anyone else in the mental health committee? Is there anything that I'm missing? And then anyone in Mayor's Youth Council, do you have any questions or suggestions for the group? Yes, Chair recognizes Mrs. Karp.
When the Mental Health Action Committee meets next year, please invite me because I have 2 recommendations for possible speakers who might be able to speak to parents and teens in the community. So I can share those people's names and contact information with you.
Awesome. That sounds great. Are there any other questions or suggestions? Okay. Thank you for the report. Can we hear from a member of the International Night / Diversity Night Committee? Chair recognizes Keiko.
So over the course of the past month, we have had a meeting and we have continued to talk about where we want the meeting done and the type of anemones we want there, like what type of food we want there, and also how we can get entertainment there. We talked about a culture group at KO who could possibly do a dance there, and we have also been looking and reaching out. Well, we haven't reached out yet, but we've been coming up with people we could reach out to possibly have a speaker and things like that.
Chair recognizes Chris.
More specifically, we've also been looking into getting speakers from labor unions, since we recognize that throughout historically, labor unions have been like a really big factor in promoting diversity and equity throughout the United States. So
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Anyone else want to speak on that? Chair recognizes Mrs. Karp.
So Chris is also a member of the Teen Advisory Board at the West Hartford Library, and we were talking a little bit about International Night, Diversity Night, and a possible connection with the library. There's something that's very popular in public libraries right now, which is called tiny art shows, which is where people in the community are given tiny canvases and tiny easels and paints, and they're asked to paint things on a different theme and then bring the paintings back to the library to be judged. So I was thinking if possibly Mayor's Youth Council or possibly Teen Advisory Board could look into doing a tiny art show related to diversity, possibly calling for paintings in the late winter and spring, and then doing some kind of gallery exhibit at the library either in May or in June in celebration of Asian American Heritage Month or Pride Month or Juneteenth or all 3 of them. So yeah, that could possibly be a tie-in with the event that's being planned, but that's just an idea. No one has to do anything with that, but Teen Advisory Board kind of thought that would be a fun activity or a collaboration.
Chair recognizes Mrs. Waxman. I think you're on mute.
Sorry. These ideas are so wonderful. Unfortunately, I have to just throw in one little problem. And because I also work as the interim library director, I know that the pandemic is still raging even more now than ever. And we have had to stop having some programs in person in the library just out of tremendous caution for all of you. Even with masks on, having a lot of people in one enclosed space is never a healthy situation right now. So if you do plan a social event or anything that requires even more than 15 people to be in one place, we may have to have it later on. And it may have to be outside because right now and in the winter, it's not safe to be inside of our building or any building together. And I'm so sorry to bring that up. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chris.
We are planning to have it specifically in like around June or later in the year and outside. So, and the second part of the event that we wanted to be indoors could also just be fully virtual, which would just be like people speaking. So, there's that.
That's great, Chris. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Any other questions, suggestions for the group? Okay, thank you for the report. Can we hear from a member of the social media committee? Do we have a member from the social media? I don't think we have one present today. Does anyone have any ideas regarding the social media committee? Chair recognizes Priya.
I'm a part of the committee, but we haven't really met yet. I don't know what's going on with that situation, so we're gonna have to figure that out.
Okay, yeah, mental health committee have kind of had the same issue is that this time between November and January is like a really busy time for a lot of people. So I'm hoping that will remedy itself in the new year. I think that'll be a little bit easier to do some scheduling stuff. Yeah, I would just say, I don't know if you guys have a separate, because like the mental health committee, we have a separate chat from the main group just so that we can like communicate specifically on mental health community stuff without having to like email back and forth. So I would suggest doing that if you haven't done that yet. And yeah, I think that in the new year, I think things will be easier to schedule. Does anyone else have any questions, suggestions for social media committee? Okay. Thank you for the reports, everybody. The next agenda item is old business. Mrs. Karp, our staff liaison, will start with the idea of a Mayor's Youth Council webpage, which was mentioned at our last meeting.
Okay, so kind of tying into Priya and the social media group, I think probably the first step that we need to take is to create some sort of web page for Mayor's Youth Council as a place where people can go and get information about us. And then eventually we'll create the social media, which will also live on that web page. I shared a document with the group earlier this week with a mock-up of a potential web page for Mayor's Youth Council. So I'm going to try and share that on the screen. So this is an idea of what our Mayor's Youth Council website could look like. It could have our logo on it with a little bit of information about who we are for teens in the community who aren't exactly sure what the Mayor's Youth Council does. There's also a section for the purpose of Mayor's Youth Council. The purpose being that more than ever, teens are interested in politics, community service, and social activism. Mayor's Youth Council is an opportunity for teens to share issues that are important to them, learn about civic engagement, and have their voices heard by West Hartford government officials. Also on the webpage, we could have information about a Mayor's Youth Council logo contest, which is something that we mentioned in November. The application for Mayor's Youth Council, because I think that that would probably be the thing that most people are coming to the website to look for. Also, we want to recognize the council members who are on the board currently, as well as the positions of chair, co-chair, and secretary. We should highlight our subcommittee/impact projects. And I would like to have more photos of the group. Sadly, the only pictures that we have are from the October 18th election that we held at Town Hall. So I would like to take more pictures closer up of some of the members in the group and definitely some action shots of some of the activities we'll be doing later in the year. Then we have a little bit of wiggle room as to other things that we would like to add to the website. Keep in mind that when you have a web page, you don't want it to be cluttered with too many things. But there are other youth councils out there And these are some of the things that they have on their sites. They have information about agenda and minutes. They have carousels of photos. There's an option to contact the Mayor's Youth Council directly, either by using someone's email or through a suggestion box. A lot of different councils have their meeting schedules posted, links to social media. And two things that I think specifically for our group that might work is having lists of teen resources and townwide collaborations, because this group does a lot of collaborations with groups that already exist in West Hartford. So we could have information about, for example, the Human Rights Commission video that we just created. We could have a link to our WeHa News interview that we did in October. I believe that there's 2 members of Mayor's Youth Council who are going to be in the Witness Stones project. And also, hopefully, Chris will become a member of the Community Center Advisory Committee. So any information that Mayor's Youth Council members have about these outside collaborations can go on our webpage or possibly on social media. Also, I think that it would be a unique opportunity if on our webpage we had some teen resources, because Mayor's Youth Council is really supposed to be an organization for the teens of West Hartford. So it would be great to create a page for teens to go if they need information on these heavy and important things. So if we could give people information about mental health, diversity and equity, the West Hartford Climate Project, or just like a calendar of local meetings and events that are going on in town that teens can participate in, it will give them an idea of what they can do in West Hartford to be politically active. So these are some of my ideas for the webpage. And I threw out the question to the group: which of these things do you think is important to include on our webpage? Are there things that we definitely need to have, or things that we should definitely not include in the webpage? What would you like to see in this digital platform?
Chair recognizes Chris.
I have a quick correction. Not only in this, but also in the article, it has said that I'm in 11th grade, but like it got that wrong. Just want to mention that.
Are you in 10th grade?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I'll fix that.
Chair recognizes Kaika.
I thought that the idea of having a suggestion box was really good, because we should have like other people's opinions besides ours if we are like the Mayor's Youth Council board. So I just thought that was a good idea.
Chair recognizes Mrs. Karp.
Piggybacking on that, also at the last meeting, I think Maya had mentioned that we could give surveys to teens. So if we create a survey in Google Forms or something, we could have it on our webpage and then gather information that way.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. And I think it's important to hear from the teens in West Hartford. I really like the idea of having teen resources as well, because we are like a teen hub in West Hartford and we're representing leadership. So we should be supporting those resources that are incredibly important. So I think that's really important. Is there any like specific things that we have to do with the social media for like, because we are a council? Like, could we just create, like, are there any restrictions with that?
I was looking and I didn't see a social media policy for the town, so I think we're okay. There's a social media policy at the library. So if we're building a social media page through me at the library, I think that we would be covered in that way. And as long as I'm supervising it, I think it should be fine. I think the first step that we need to have is we need to create a name for our social media, the tag or whatever for our group. I think that's all I would need just to get it started.
Does anyone have any ideas for a tag or a username? Besides, let's see. Chair recognizes Kaika.
I just had a quick question on whether or not we're still going to be holding the logo contest at the schools. because I thought that was a good idea because there are like a lot of I know at Hall we have like a nice arts program. So
Chair recognizes Mrs. Carp.
I think we're going to talk about that next on the agenda. Is that under old business, the second thing? Yeah, so we're going to talk about that right after this.
Does anyone have any other feedback about the webpage or any other ideas or things that you think should be included? Okay. Oh, sorry. Chair recognizes Mrs. Carp.
So are we comfortable with the social media subcommittee coming up with the tag for the Mayor's Youth Council social media? I think we could do it that way if everyone's okay with that.
I'm just thinking because it has to be an Instagram account, I think has to be attached to an email address. I'm not positive, but I think it maybe has to be attached to an email address. Should we make a Mayor's Youth Council Gmail, and should it be associated with the library email? Like, is there a specific database with the library emails?
I'll talk to the IT librarian at the library, and if she can't create a pair email for us, we can ask someone from the town IT department to create an email address for Mayor's Youth Council, which we can use for the social media. That's a very good point.
Yeah, I'm not positive whether you need one or not, but I think we should just have one anyway, so might as well just. Does anyone have any other questions, suggestions about that? Okay. The second new item is the Mayor's Youth Council logo contest. Does someone from the social media committee want to discuss that, or Mrs. Carp can discuss it? Chair recognizes Mrs. Carp.
So at the last meeting, we brought up the idea of running a Mayor's Youth Council logo contest to bring attention to the group and to get teens in West Hartford involved in the Mayor's Youth Council, and to help us because we're going to begin publicizing for the next group of Mayor's Youth Council members in April. So I think that at today's meeting, it would be beneficial to go over some of the details, the who, when, what, why, where of the logo contest, so that the social media group can begin creating flyers and social media posts to start publicizing it in January and February. So Heiko, you had mentioned that there was a logo contest at Hall High School or just an art group that we can possibly publicize to. What are your thoughts about the logo contest?
I was just thinking that it would be like a nice thing to like introduce to the arts classes at Hall because we have a really good art program, I think. And I just thought that it would be like a good thing, and it would also like get people to know about the Mayor's Youth Council if they know that there's like a logo contest going on.
That sounds awesome. We can have, I don't know, we can certainly do flyers at Hall, and I'm sure Connor could do flyers too. And then maybe Kaiko, if you want to, or someone in the art department can specifically do just some sort of publicity to specifically the art students. Chair recognizes Mrs. Carr.
So for the when question, if you remember from last year, April was the time that we started publicizing Mayor's Youth Council, and then applications were due in May, and then we interviewed people in June. So should this contest be, I don't know, should we announce it in February and pick the winning logo in March, or should we start it in January and pick the winner in March? Any ideas of the timeline of this?
This is Grace. I like the idea of starting in February, so we have a little bit of time before people start applying. February and then announcing a winner in March. I feel like that's enough time for people to make logos. And then also we talked about maybe doing some sort of prize or incentive. I don't know if we have thoughts on that. Mrs. Cart, did you have any thoughts on the incentive?
Normally at the library, we give away gift card prizes, and particularly in this time, given the pandemic and COVID, we do a lot of e-gift cards, so people don't have to come in to pick it up. So if everyone thinks that that would be a motivational prize, we can definitely do a gift card, or if there's something trending in the high schools right now, like the it thing to have, I'm open to buying a physical object if that would be better.
Chair recognizes Sarah.
Personally, I think a gift card is a really good idea because like anyone can use it no matter what their interests are, things like that. I think an object might be a little more personalized, so it's probably harder to fit to each person. So I think the gift card is a really good idea.
Chair,
Since oh sorry.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Since this is like a social activism group, I'm not sure if there's a prize that would appeal to that kind of teen who's interested in social action and politics and getting involved in the community. So, I mean, I can always do an Amazon gift card, but if somebody thinks that there might be something that ties directly to this contest, that would be interesting too.
That's an interesting thought. I can't. Can anyone think of something that has to do with activism that we could give them a gift card to? Chair recognizes Mrs. Carp.
I just had a thought right now. We've never done this before. I'm not even sure if we can do it, but maybe as the prize, we could make a donation in that person's name to something.
That's really cool. They could pick. I mean, we make a list of like 10 to 15 charities, and we can make a donation on behalf of them to the charity of their choice. But we can obviously like pick 10 or 12 that we think that would be like worth it to give the money to. And then also like, do we think maybe like should just the winner get a prize, or should we do like first, second, and third, and then maybe they don't get as like big a prize if they win, but at least there's like incentive to do it because there's more like possibility to win. Chair recognizes Keiko.
I was just wondering that if we have second and third place winners, how would we use their logos?
That's an interesting point. We're only gonna use one logo. I was just thinking second and third just for like pure like recognition for them, but I kind of agree with that. We're only picking one logo. Chair recognizes Mrs. Carp.
So I've heard rumors that there were logo contests recently. I think it was at Conard High School, actually. Maybe they were designing a flag of some sort. Does anyone have any ideas like what the rules for those contests were? If not, maybe the social media subcommittee could come up with the rules for the contest.
Chair recognizes Mrs. Laxman.
Thank you. So we have a great program and publicity department in the library with some professional graphic artists. Perhaps some of you could invite Leslie Sano, our graphic artist, to a meeting or meet with her separately. She is designing logos for our new tech lab as well as other library projects. And perhaps she can guide you on the size and some guidelines, because just a logo, it's going to be hard for anybody to know what to submit. So that's an option for you. Thank you.
That's a good point. So maybe the social media committee could meet with them at some point to discuss that. Chair recognizes Keiko.
I was just gonna say that I thought it would be a good idea to have the social media committee possibly make like a flyer or something, and then like create an email to send to like a hall teacher or a arts program at the schools. I thought that would like work out the best.
Chair recognizes Mrs. Karp.
So Priya, if the social media committee could meet before January 18th, which is our next meeting, and if one of the members could make a mock-up of a flyer, we could take a look at it at our next meeting, and then I think we would be able to edit it and have it ready to go for February.
Chair recognizes Sarah.
Sorry, I was just wondering, is the logo contest a project that we have to vote on, or is it just something that we can do without that?
That's a good question. I mean, I don't think we need to put it to a vote. What do you think, Mrs. Waxman? No, I think we could just do it. But good question, sir.
Okay, does anyone else have anything to bring up about the logo contest? We'll have the social media committee meet before our meeting in January, and have them make a mock-up of a flyer that they might want to hand out. Also, the social media committee make an email address and maybe discuss with Mrs. Karp to make an Instagram account. Does anyone else have anything to discuss about any of old business? Okay, so the next agenda item is announcements. Would any members like to make a council-related announcement? Chair recognizes Mrs. Karp.
Okay, this is the last thing I think we're talking about today. So on the agenda, I had mentioned the idea of doing school reports. Other youth councils that I've seen do these. It's where everyone on the committee says one or two significant things that are happening at their school at any given time. So it's a good way for all members of the committee to participate at meetings, but also a way to get to know what's going on in other schools. So since we have some students who are the only representatives of their school, for example, Jack at Kingswood Oxford and Siona at New England Jewish Academy, they would have to give school reports for their schools and just mention one or two cool things that are happening in the school. But for the others, Conard and Hall, either one person could do it for every meeting where they could give the school report, or we can rotate and people can take turns just telling us what's happening. So I think it would be good because I personally work at the library. I have very little idea what's going on, boots on the ground in the school. So it would be nice for a few minutes of every meeting if we could just share what's happening with everyone's schools, if everyone's open to that.
Chair recognizes Chris.
So currently at Connor, there's been like talks of the administration having a meeting to finally change the like logo and the representation of using the term chieftains to describe our teams and stuff. But that's I think going to happen through the break. And that's a pretty big thing that's happening with Connor right now.
And these are the kinds of things we want to hear about in the school reports. So they could be big things like that, but they could be little things too, like if there's a big play going on or something like that. Just anything in the schools.
Would anyone else like to say anything about school reports? Does that sound good? Okay. All agenda items have been discussed. I move that we adjourn this meeting. Does anyone second? Chair recognizes Jack.
I second.
Okay. Jack seconds. All in favor say yes.
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 All opposed say no. Okay, this meeting is adjourned. The next meeting is on January 18th, 2022 at 6 p.m. in Town Hall Room 312. See y'all next year.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank
Safe,
you.
everybody.
Great.
Happy holiday.